Hello. Here today, well, here tonight, going to look at the Five of Wands in depth. My interpretations, experiences, and meanings that are spiritual aspects of this card. I started off with the Four of Wands, and I said that things were going to be random from there, and this is random. So yeah, so it'd be pretty funny actually if Six of Wands kept showing up next, but no. No, this came out in it came out in a few other people's spreads, plus in my dailies twice. So Five of Wands it is. Now I'm going to show you some cards first and look at the technical stuff. I often reference Crowley Thoth deck, so I should probably show a card from the Crowley Thoth deck. This is, yeah, that's the card. It's called Strife in Crowley Thoth, and as you can see, we've got the four wands in perfect symmetry, and then we've got one wand up the middle that's causing strife and fire going everywhere. You can see the fire shooting out everywhere, chaos. Yeah. So, and as I said, I don't know if you can get that to focus. It's not being my friend, I don't think. Anyway, it says strife. So that's the Crowley Thoth deck, and just with the bright yellow in the background. I mean, it shows exploration, things are new, yeah, adventure, I guess, yeah, upset with the five, disturbance. So that's the Crowley Thoth. This is the Lo Scarabeo. I know I always get it wrong. Anyways, Lo Scarabeo, I think, deck that amalgamates Marseille, Thoth, and Rider-Waite. And it's a little bit bizarre, their interpretation with this one. I've got to say, obviously you can see what they've taken from Thoth. The rest I just don't get. I honestly don't get. I mean, obviously they look pretty angry, upset at each other, so it sort of implies conflict and arguments and things like that, possibly even violence. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange interpretation. Looks like they're sort of arguing over a giant matchstick. But anyway, yeah, I'll keep that there. One on the Eclectic Tarot forum, which was an awesome forum. It still has a lot of information up, but it's not an active forum anymore, unfortunately. I was poking around there, and someone on that forum described it as the Five of Wands from the Lo Scarabeo deck as two men playing air guitar. So it's a bit hard to take it seriously after that. But anyway, it's a pretty funny interpretation. Now, as I said, with the Rider-Waite, there's plenty of images that I think get in the way of interpretation of it, but I actually really like their interpretation here of the Five of Wands, as it shows, is that working? Yeah, Rider-Waite. This is the traditional Rider-Waite, and that's Five of Wands, and it shows like the healthier side, the more positive side of the Five of Wands, which is competition, sort of schoolyard antics and training. That could even be, yeah, training for the real thing, and it's only through training that you become better, and that's another element of the Five of Wands. The healthy sort of healthy competition between peers, I guess, that helps egg us on or do better in a positive way. Yeah, so you can see they're all jousting. They look young. I think they're young boys. That's why I think kind of schoolyard antics. So I like that interpretation. That's a good one. No one looks too vicious. It looks all kind of pretty tame. Yeah. So in Five of Wands best light, it's you know, healthy competition, whatnot. Here we have another Lo Scarabeo deck, and this is the, I think it's Fancy Cat. I can't remember. It's something cats, obviously, because it's, you will see there's cats. And this shows, well, a bit more of a nastier side of Five of Wands. Nobody looks particularly friendly in that card. They're out to kill one another, basically. So that's the extreme side of Five of Wands, which can be violence, and that, you know, arguments and yeah, that's the aggressive, really aggressive. I mean, that's violence, definitely, that one. I mean, they're out to, yeah, no one, not one person looks friendly in that one. Everyone's on guard, everyone's about to kill each other and tear one another apart. Okay, so after the celebration of the Four of Wands and the foundation that is made, the connection between conscious, subconscious, spirit, the other side, the divine connection. Once that connection is made and a foundation, a firm foundation in the Four of Wands, which is, as discussed, Crowley calls it completion, and it very near is, because it's the Four of Wands. Is it Venus and Aries? Okay. Venus and Aries, yeah. It's about as stable as you're going to get in the wands, which is fire element, and that's the foundation. So once that foundation is there and the celebration is had, we can't stay there too long. Fours, I mean, we need to build foundations and we need to build upon those foundations, but we can't stay anywhere too long. I mean, changes are only constant. Otherwise, if we stay too long there, anything, when we stay anywhere too long, it stagnates. And then actually, the longer we stay there, the negative aspects of that card, like, it'll actually putrefy. And that's when we often see the real negative aspects of cards are usually when people have been in that energy too long. Yeah, it turns stagnant. But so in swoops the Five of Wands. Now, five is a disruptive number. Fives are all about change. They're all about expansion, adventure, disturbance. It's an uncomfortable number. It's always going to be a disturbance, especially after the comfortability of the Four. In swoops the Five, and in this element, in Wands, Five of Wands, wow, we've got like a rush of energy, disturbing energy, expansive energy, which technically, the astrological aspects are Saturn in Leo. So we have Leo as a sun sign, and very near is a perfect harness of the sun's energy. It's a perfect balance in Leo. Leo is I'm not sure where it lands in the fire signs, but anyway, the balance in Leo, harnessing that sun's energy, is almost a perfect balance. That combined with the Five, Leo, with the fire energy and the disturbance of the Five, Saturn in Leo. Saturn is very heavy, extremely weighted, and it's physical, it's physicality too. So it really pulls the Leo, tries to drag it down. So that's where the struggle really does come in, and it gives also the Five of Wands a lot of its physicalities that are often, you see it manifest in most often in, I mean, even in spiritual spreads, I mean, most often it's jealousy, really untamed jealousy, and it could be a character it could be part of someone's character or whatever, or their makeup, or it could be a result of circumstances. But yeah, jealousy is a lot, and that's the Saturn weighing it down, making it me. So, and physical. It can be violence, it can be arguments, and what Crowley calls it strife. It's a great disturbance no matter what. But the positive aspects with the Saturn in Leo are more, well, physicality again, but you often see it as exercise, as healthy competition or training, like in the Rider-Waite with the looks like schoolyard sort of antics, you know, schoolboys sort of jostling around and healthy competition, spurring each other on, and training like you know, nobody gets the Olympics and you know, says, oh, when I was 10 or whatever, I did the 50 meters freestyle and I came first, and I figured I'd just, you know, come here and give it a shot. No, they train all that time. So it's a healthy outlet. Five of Wands, because it got all this extra energy with the five, the extra energy in the wands. You need to find a healthy outlet for it. And with fire being spirit, there can be great internal struggle too. And trying to keep that in can be really, that's when it can actually just manifest in ridiculous ways if you're trying to bottle it up and you're having an internal struggle. And 5 is a really testing number. So after the 4, after the initial connection and the foundation, that 5 comes in, swoops in, and it's giving you a test. It's testing your connection, really. It's testing when things get tough, when you have this extra energy, especially, because these, especially in the wands, these surges of fire, these power surges as such, can be very empowering. Like you think that you're all powerful, I guess. I mean, who doesn't like a good temper tantrum or a jealous rage or whatever? Or some people just violence. I mean, if that's your bend, I don't know. I mean, violence is extreme. Obviously, I think if you're trying to contain things and then it erupts, then it could be violence. But the test is, after the initial connection, if you're unable to cope with like the extra energy, you need to turn to spirit for guidance, strengthen that connection more, especially in the trying times. You know, when you're feeling all powerful and great and you don't turn to spirit, yeah, it doesn't, just need to do it all the time, really, thick and thin, you know, lows and highs. Turn to spirit for guidance, and that's and as I said, the positive outlets or aspects of this card are endurance training or physicality or martial arts and things. There's actually like a whole lot of yeah, training basically and exercises of any, I mean, if you've got all that extra energy, that's the best way to be doing it. Also knowledge, you could also be using it, because it also has the 5 hails back to the Hierophant in the Major Arcana, which is basically about high learning, learning, knowledge, all of that sort of stuff. So it's expanding of your mind. So it is a disturbance in that way. It also speaks of high learning institutions and things like that, which you think about, that's quite disturbing. I mean, when you initially do go to high school, university, whatever, the disturbance of that, it disrupts your whole way of life. It disrupts, you know, the foundation of the 4. So, oh yeah, that with the physicality of it too. I mean, I touched on everything else: violence, sports, activities, you know, training, endurance, all that sort of stuff. exercise is the best. But obviously there's another element of especially with the Saturn in Leo, it brings it down to a very lustful card. So it can also mean, well, sexual pursuits, obviously, sexual competition, sexual jealousy as well. Jealousy can come in, jealousy and sex are often very, very, very intertwined, aren't they? So yeah, it can be a very highly sexual card. Obviously, at the moment we're just talking about the card singularly, but in spreads, it's the interplay of the cards around it that will show to where it's leaning, and also whether it's the positive or the negative aspects or whatever are coming out. I actually never really, I don't see it a lot in my own personal spreads, just because I don't know. I just don't, it's not a card that, I mean, all readers will tell you that there's certain cards that some just you don't see really at all. Even in others, that everyone's got their sort of weird nemesis cards that they just don't really even see often or at all. But Five of Wands I never see come up for myself, probably because of the strife and the struggle with it. But yeah, I think I would turn to spirit and try and find a healthy outlet for that extra energy. What else? So it can it can relate to, because of the competition side of it. It can relate to scandal, gossip, and just all that sort of argumentative, tattletale, annoying disturbances. Yeah, there's heaps of aspects to this card, really. But from a spiritual perspective, it is definitely the testing after the foundation of the four, and where are you going to strengthen your relationship with spirit? Are you going to let the subconscious speak to conscious, about the right way to handle things, or to sit on things and certainly not get overexcited. Excitement, there's another one. Actually, I've seen it, yeah, as definitely being sexually excited by, yeah, it can be a very sexual card actually, but it depends on the context and who you're reading for. Now, so, and this explains too, I mean, not that everybody's, this is my theory anyway, from the Four of Wands, this is the way I see it. From the Four of Wands, when you have the first celebration, the first connection to spirit, unconscious, conscious, the first connection, and there's a celebration, the two houses come together. From that moment, the divine in the background sets about setting up the best journey for you for spiritual growth and learning, and to help others too, because it's not always about you. It might be, we'll take a detour here because that'll help this person over here, and just sets about marking the best journey for you according to that initial connection. And you'll come back to that connection every now and again to remind you, or to, yeah. So it all goes around. It doesn't always just go, it certainly doesn't go Four of Wands, Five of Wands, Six of Wands. It's just not the way it happens. It might go Four of Wands, and then you might dive back to the Chariot, and then you might, but everybody's journey is very different. So, depending on the lessons you learn from the other cards too. But when you do actually finally get from that, go through the testing of the Five of Wands, and then you might bounce around somewhere else and then come back, you will go to the Six of Wands. Now the Six of Wands is, and I have said this in my blog actually, so I certainly haven't said it on here, but it's a very double-edged card. It's victory, and in the Rider-Waite you see a fellow on a horse, parading into town, victorious, and his horse looks very, very dubious, doubtful, let's say, of the victory. So in that card, it can be, see, according to the Five of Wands, the test, how you came out of it. Did you stay pure? were you corrupted? Were you easily, you know, did ego easily step in, and did you easily, so is your victory in the Six of Wands, is it vainglorious, egotistical? Is it glory for glory's sake? Or is it a true victory, that your purity of spirit remains intact, that your connection has been strengthened with spirit, and it's a true victory where you can actually, hurrah, because you've gone through the test of the 5. And I'm not in no way belittling the 5 of Wands. It can be really testing. I mean, and I've seen it be violent and testing in relationships, especially with that jealousy, and it can really manifest in some terrible ways. So that is a real testing, uncomfortable number, and and it wouldn't matter if you're goodness, Jesus, or whoever. It doesn't matter how good you are, it's still going to be testing. There's no doubt. Even just making that decision and turning to spirit of how to have the best outlet, which, as I said, could be high learning, it could be exercise, you need to use that extra energy that you've been gifted. The divine has actually gifted it to you from the 4 of Wands, that initial connection and celebration. It's actually a gift, this extra energy, this extra spiritual fire, passion. Yeah, it is a gift, depending on how you react to it, whether you react with the divine on your side, whether you react, or actually, it's probably more important, is that you don't react, that you respond and not react. And that's a big difference, I think. When people are in reaction mode, you can't monitor your reactions. You just constantly are ruled by your emotions, I guess. When you respond, which obviously gives you a bit more time and to look inwards and to speak to spirit and to see what's the best way to handle this. Okay, so I think that's all I really want to say about the 5. I can't really think of anything else that's it's just a rite of passage, unfortunately. Yeah, the best excuse me, the best you can hope for, I think, is that hang on and hope it doesn't last too long. But it's like anything, though. I mean, the 6s are perfection, really. They're the second celebration number. So 5's definitely not my favourite number. I mean, the uncomfortability of it in any suit, yeah, it's not pleasant. But it's necessary for growth and change. Yeah, I don't think I would ever, looking back at some of my, a few years ago, I guess, some of my 5 moments, I wouldn't have sought them out, and I certainly wouldn't have chosen them, but I'm happy with who came out the other end, stronger and definitely more connected, deeper connection with spirit. So, and sometimes it may take a few rounds, and that's where you get in these karma loops sometimes, where you're not doing it, you're not getting the lesson, or you're failing dismally, or, you know, giving into lust, giving into rage, giving into just general satanic appetites, which are very physicalities of them. Violence, obviously, you know, is never acceptable, but yeah, I mean, but the healthy range, I mean, can set you up for victory later on, especially like when you're training and physical training and exercise and things like that. These are definitely, you know, healthy mind, body, spirit, all of that, which comes through in the 6. So that's the 5 of the Wands. I showed you the cards earlier, and I'll see if I can stitch these together. be quiet all day, and then all of a sudden you go to record your tarot video, and all of a sudden you miss popularity. Your phone keeps ringing and messages popping off. So apologies for that. But I think that's all I've got to say. I'll think about a million things more when I end it. But yeah. Anyway, have a great day.